Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to Let Us Watch The Green Knight. Oh, lights, camera, action. No preamble. That's literally, I think, a wire that lowered the crown onto Dev Patel. Okay, so that's actually really cool because I watched this on opening night in the theater, and there's a lot of dialogue in it that I wasn't 100% understanding. So it's nice to have the subtitles and seeing all of the it's not Middle English. It's like low Middle English. This is like Chaucer English. So ye old English, A24. So I know I've mentioned it before on this podcast, how freakishly thrilled I was to see this movie, and good lord, did it ever! Oh, I love this movie. Bro Studios. It's not what it was. See, some of the we'll see later on. Some of the text is it's funky. It's I don't want to say immersive because text on the screen is not immersive, but it fits the setting, I suppose. There's the house on fire back there. Okay, so my mother saw the trailers for this and she was interested, and so on opening night, I actually worked the next day at like 3 a.m. So opening night, I actually slept a couple of hours before we went to see this just so I didn't have only like 3 hours. So my mom went with me to see this movie. If you've seen this movie, which I'm assuming you have if you're watching a commentary track on it, you will find out you already know how not good of an idea that was in some instances. I loved this movie. My mom did not like it. I can see where a lot of people would not like it. I'm not one of those. Oh, you gotta like it because it's breathtaking. This is definitely the kind of movie that a lot of people definitely would not be all that into. I can understand that. I loved it though. I say that because the house on fire to open the movie, my mom was like fixated on that. She was like, "What's with the fire?" And like later on in the movie, she's like, "What's with the fire? What in the fire? Why?" I'll point out some of the more hilarious aspects because I actually the theater was like not half full. It was like a quarter full. I guess there were people with us on opening night, so we got some legit reactions, at least two on two different occasions. If you've seen the movie, you probably know which two. Oh, you are not yet. He's got lots of time. Look, see already. Look, the camera. Okay, so anytime the camera spins like that, that's implying the passage of time. You'll see it later. It's like a motif because you see the little calendar that spins. He thinks he's got all the time in the world. A film adaptation of the chivalric romance by Anonymous. Gringelot. So yes, this is based off of an anonymous epic poem, I guess. Gawain and the Green Knight. Gawain. All of you English majors out there. Lo and behold, the tale of the pronunciation of this knight's name. Because nobody knows. Nobody knows. I think even in this movie, I think David Lowery, I think even he was like, when he was filming this movie, I think he just let the actors decide what the pronunciation was in keeping with the modern, oh, well, nobody knows what his name pronunciation is. There are people. It's like Beowulf. There's a specific part of Beowulf that like scholars have been debating. People have written essays on like this one sentence of Beowulf, whether or not Grendel's mom is Beowulf's mom or not, or there's something like that. It's amazing. It's fascinating to me. David Lowery, I guess, thankfully, has been very vocal about this film, and I love directors who talk, who are open about filming techniques and stuff. David Lowery he's been very open about like different interpretations and why he did the things he did, and that's a very death of the authory, or I guess like against death of the authory, but I get the feeling in a lot of the interviews he just lets people. He actually did a Reddit AMA, and it seems like whatever interpretations people bring to the question, he just goes along with. If you read like the AMA or any of his interviews, it's just like, oh, well, this I thought this meant this, and he's like, oh yeah, totally. It just seems like he's never like, no, it meant this, which I think is cool. So this is one of the changes from the poem, because Gawain, he didn't actually have a mother, I don't think, in the poem, but I can't think of her name. Morgan Le Fay, that's it. But she, in the Arthurian poems, Morgan Le Fay is like an antagonist to King Arthur, and at the end of this story, she turns out to be the antagonist. However, David Lowery he took some liberties in terms of storytelling to make it, it's a film adaptation. It makes it a lot more interesting anyway. So, I think in ways that even David Lowery didn't expect them to make sense. Also, I don't think he goes online and like looks up critiques or analyses of his films. He might look at analyses, but I have no expectations that he will actually hear any of my thoughts on this, but so here we go. The cinematography is just absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. Pensive choral music plays. I don't know how official these subtitles are, but I was so happy when this came out on it. They released it, and you had to buy tickets to watch it on. I don't know if it was on 824's side or if they sourced it out to another thing. But I'm pretty certain this is getting a Blu-ray release, and I'm psyched because I want to see. I think David Lowery has already said it will come with a commentary track, so I will be awaiting with bated breath. And it was intentional for King Arthur to be made Gawain. King Arthur was intentionally made to be older and sort of at the end of his life, in contrast to Gawain, who is very young. Drink. Slam it into the ground. Another! Dev Patel, a wonderful actor. I don't know anything else that he's been in off the top of my head right now, but just watching him in this, I'm just like, God, so good. I would be insane if I thought that this movie was going to do well at the Oscars, but I definitely think he deserves an Oscar nom. Besides us. The Christmas Game. So yeah, this game does have like chapter titles. I don't know if that has any bearing on the epic poem or not. Like if it's separated into chapters. Queefed from her womb. Some of the dialogue. Good luck in any other film put out in the last 20 years. Good luck having the word queefed out of her womb. Only in The Green Knight. I love it. I love it as an English major. Just the middle English. See, they make it somewhat. They make somewhat of an allusion to the fact that Morgan Le Fay and King Arthur are not on the up and up, or were not. Uh, One of the themes of the film. I'm sure it's just me, but the Queen always looks. When I saw it the first time, she looked very much like she. It looked like she was made of CGI. If I'm being honest, I don't know if they did some digital de-aging or post aging. I don't know what, but her face looks kind of uncanny. I'll say. I don't want to say it's not odd. It's just uncanny. It's like my eye. It's like Aelita Battle Angel. There's just something about her face. There's a matte painting around that shot, by the way. David Lowery did a Vanity Fair video where he analyzed this scene. So this is Morgan summoning the Green Knight to this feast. There's a lot of ambiguity going on. Like, I don't know why, off the top of my head, why she was repeating what he was saying verbatim. I can't remember if this speech was ad-libbed or if it was done in one take. And like David Lowery just let the actor go with it. Sean Harris, by the way. I have my phone here. I should probably tell you some of those things. Oh, you're about to get a show, my friend. Oh! The practical effects are wonderful. Speaking of practical effects, So we've all seen Pan's Labyrinth, and the satyr from Pan's Labyrinth is like an absolutely like mastodonic achievement in the field of special effects and like practical effects specifically. The Green Knight looks absolutely gorgeous. It's all practical. It's none of it CGI. That's an actual outfit. Look how gorgeous it looks. Much to Ralph Ineson's chagrin, because I think like he could only see out of it. I don't think he could see out of it. He only had use of like two senses. He could smell, and that was about it. I don't think he's sitting on a horse there. I think David Lowery was saying that the horse had gone into heat or something, and they couldn't film with it, so he's sitting on something. I mean, that's an actual horse in that shot, but when he's just standing there and the shot's just his chest up. I got this in the mail. Or I guess it just like appeared. Open it. Come on, see what it says. Oh, is that how you open those? I don't know what else I expected. I guess I could pause it and, like, switch it around and see what that says. Well, I mean, or she could read it. It's a long 6 nights. Bend the knee. I know who. Uh-oh. Some magic going on. I wonder what would have happened if, like, King Arthur, if whoever struck the blow, if they didn't show up to the Green Chapel. I wonder what would have happened. Uh, well, he thinks he does. I wonder if that was King Arthur or if that was Morgan Le Fay speaking through King Arthur. See, the whole point of this, from what I understand. Okay, we've got multiple things going on here, and I'll go with. So one of my mother's biggest things about this movie is that there's Excalibur. My mom's one of the biggest gripes about this movie for her was that it had no point to it. But this is the main point of the film is Gawain is a young man who is sitting here amongst all of these legends who have stories to tell, and he has no story to tell. So he wants what they have. He wants glory. He wants to be a legend. He wants there to be tales made about him. So this is him in his youthful exuberance wanting to do that, and he gets caught a little bit, well, I guess a bit over his head. See, he thinks he's clever right now. Or, well, he thinks he's about to. Because if he kills him, if he chops his head off and kills him, oh, well, I don't have to go and meet him because he'll be dead. It's a game. See, Gawain's not thinking so much about the challenge. He's thinking more about how these legendary men are viewing him. See, he keeps looking over at everybody else. He's like, oh, is this what I do? He doesn't know how to be a knight. He wants to be a knight. He thinks he's got plenty of time to be a knight. He's waiting for greatness to be thrust upon him, but he has to be the one to take it, and he hasn't. And Arthur's like, oh, he failed. And yes, his mother was the one who caused this, but we'll get into that later. Do you hear the clicking? It's the. You've seen it in the trailers. There's the calendar, it's the wheel that spins, and that's the clicking of the wheel turning. There's a lot of time imagery, because his time is now officially running out. Because he will be dead in a year. Or, well, he'll have his head chopped off in a year. Whether or not that immediately means death isn't. I mean, the Green Knight had his head chopped off and he's still kicking, so. This is. Oh, the practical effects are just amazing. I love it. I love. This movie's so good. Okay, so you've got like. Okay, so film as a medium, the closest thing you can get to like a painting on film, you have like Stanley Kubrick films, which are like abstract paintings put to film. This film is like a gorgeous like landscape painting put to film. It just looks gorgeous. Everyone's all like, "The fuck." Why are they clapping? 1 year hence, he's gonna get his head chopped off. I guess they all figure it's just a game. King Arthur's like, what have you done? She knows what's up. The knights at the round table have no idea what's up. They're just like, yeah! Murder! Music ends in flourish. So this is going into storage. A too quick year. I was hoping they would add subtitles for the chapter titles, because the very last one, I have no idea what it says. Okay, so here's the time motif in the film. We've already seen it, and I've pointed it out, but this is what it's... This is like the visual nod motif toward it. I'm assuming because they're watching this play like we're watching the film, perhaps. Oh no! And then there's the passing of a year. I guess what happens now? I wonder if that's why he's holding onto his necklace, because that's where he's about to get disemboweled. Okay, well, not disemboweled, beheaded, rather. We will find out later. Well, we already know, but because we woke up at the beginning of the film in a brothel. But Gawain's major vice is in the sexual realm. We will find out just how aware of this his mother also is. See, there's the clicking that we heard earlier. God damn, I love this movie. Excalibur. There's a head she's wanting to chop off. See, he's found greatness, but it's so cheap and hollow. Gawain. See, I'm pretty sure he just let the actors say however they wanted to say it. Which, as someone whose name is Colin and who routinely is called Colin, I very much understand. See, he's got people telling stories about him. This movie is about greatness and rising to the challenge and accepting it and chasing it yourself and not having it given to you and wasting it. Essentially, that is the overarching theme of this film. Uh-oh. It's winter. It's getting close to Christmas. I wish it would snow. This is officially a Christmas movie, by the way, so... Once you've watched It's a Wonderful Life and A Christmas Story, put this shit on. If you want to alienate most of your family members. See, he's not acting like a knight. You are no knight. We will hear that again later. At one of the points of the film where the audience was very vocal. It was wonderful. I will say that the trailer definitely was not the best trailer for what this film is. It made it seem a lot more assertive, I guess. This is a very low-key movie. It's a very slow-paced, but wonderful. If you love cinematography and acting. I'm so glad we live in a world of medicine. Hey, you're whittling away the year. See, Arthur knows what it means to be a king, what it means to be a legend. Because you accepted the game, you dingus. See? Here's the point of the film. It's all right here. And alcohol on your lips. Here we go. It's been a year almost. Now what's going to happen? No! Tough crowd. Okay, so a lot of people have been confused over Morgan Le Fay because she was the one who summoned the Green Knight, and she's ultimately the impetus that leads her son to his death. However, she also gives him the green belt that we're about to see that's supposed to protect him from the Green Knight. So, in that sense, she's not wanting him to die. The way David Lowery describes it, Morgan Le Fay is upset that her son's kind of just like whittling away his life in brothels and stuff. So she's kind of like, she summoned the Green Knight in the hopes that he would accept the challenge and it would be the nudge out the door. There's no subtitles for this. Even though they're like, da, 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 da. See, so she's the person who causes his death, but I don't think that was her intention because she gave him this belt. Which, what does that say about his mother that she, I don't know. Maybe she was just wanting him to make something of his life. She didn't necessarily want him to be a legend or to discover greatness and choose to die so as to become great. But I don't know. Her face looks normal there, so I don't know. Maybe it was just the lighting or something. Watching movies with the time code at the bottom of the screen is just, it's a whole different experience. Knowing that the film is already a fourth of the way over. Like, it's been 35 minutes, but in the theater, it felt like it had been 10 minutes. And, like, the rest of the film was, like, 2 hours. I guess we'll have to figure that out over the course of this film. Why greatness and not just goodness? See, I don't think she wants him to die. The journey out. Oh, the cinematography is great. I've got a sword! Is this what Gawain thinks knights are like? Assholes who don't listen to children, who just want to, like, have fun? Gawain! We saw you in the play! Get your head chopped off! That looks like, not Osgiliath. It looks like, Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings on the back there. There's the sheep. My goodness. Like, I know if I had been alive at that time, like, I wouldn't know anything different, but good lord. In contrast to our lives today, like, everyone thinks life is so horrible, but, like, compared to then... Apparently in England, this is going to be a deep cut because Oliver Cromwell was in Wolfwalkers when we watched that. But apparently in England, like, childhood was a thing. Like, kids actually had a childhood and were able to, like, just screw around, and they weren't, like, toiling in labor constantly until Oliver Cromwell came around and, like, was a big advocate for child labor so that they weren't off sinning, I guess. So it actually makes sense that there would be kids just scampering around watching plays and stuff. I fancy you, Alicia Vikander. Cause you were born to be my lady. Lady, I was made to be your mate. What gold? What gold does he have? So he's obviously he's in the knighthood elite. He's the nephew of King Arthur, for crying out loud. I think Essel is in the lower class, and so he knows that he wants to be great, but he doesn't know if he can be great with her because it would be unsightly for him to be with a lower class woman, as we find out later on in uh, the last temptation of Sir Gawain scene. I think that's why he's not admitting that how much he wants to, or that he wants to be with her forever. He wants to commit. And I think she knows that. Oh, I saw this in Dark Souls. Remember Sin's Fortress? Oh, the time when torture devices and methods were devised to ward off people to the extent that they would just leave them on the side of the road. That's what the ancient Romans did with crucifixions. I think they just crucified people like on the side of the road and just left them there as like a warning. Like, don't do this. Oddly enough, I think if they made it into a public spectacle now, I think a lot more people would be against capital punishment. Nowadays, they keep it like behind closed doors so people don't notice it. Which, by the way, getting trapped in a cage until you die and become a skeleton, much better than electric chair. Fun fact. Here's the CGI fox. But the CGI fox looks wonderful. So, I'm still not 100% certain on what the fox is. If it's Morgan Le Fay, I don't think it is. I don't know, like, who it is and the like what character it is, or like if there's a character, or if it's acting on behalf of another character. You know what I mean? We know it has some agency because we find that out later. What if zombies? A kindness. So this is another reminder of King Arthur. King Arthur is a king. He knows what it means to be great. He's fought these battles. He knows what it means to be what greatness is. And so Gawain strolling through here is a reminder of, oh, well, it's another contrast. If you've seen the trailer, you know that this guy is a traitorous dog. Another reason why the trailer... I was so hyped for the trailer. I watched it many times. But it does give away some things, and it's not a very good representative of what the final film is. Which is funny, because due to COVID, this movie was like pushed back a year or something. And I think David Lowery, he re-edited it a whole bunch, like, in quarantine. So I wonder if the trailer is indicative of, like, an earlier cut of the film. I wonder if that was a different take. Remember 1917, 1945? What was that war movie? 1940 something? What was it? But it came out a couple of years ago. And the whole big selling point was that it was like one long take. But it wasn't. They just hid it. They just hid the take separations by like different things. Which I caught. And it was very... It took me out of the movie. But I wonder if that's what that fog was. If it was like a separating takes. Here, World War II single take film, 1917. Oh, it's World War I. My bad. That's what I thought it was. 1917. Okay. Good lord. It had Benedict Cumberbatch at the end of it, which like took me out of the movie so hard. I really wish they had cast somebody else, like another unknown actor. When you have a movie of completely like unknown actors and then all of a sudden you get Doctor Strange, it's just odd. Oh, yes, it does. Tricky. Tricky! I love horses. I've never physically been around horses, so I don't know. They could be giant assholes, but I love the idea of being around horses and interacting them with them. They seem fun. Plus, they're naturally prey in the wild, so they have a very difficult time trusting other creatures, even humans. So I don't know. It just means a lot to have like a horse friend, I guess. Oh boy. Hello. I just heard her accent and I still couldn't get it right. That was one long ass bow. Please! Ooh, sneaky. Tweren't enough. Turnt. What's that supposed to mean? I guess maybe like incense. That's creepy. That's creepy. You're not gonna die. We're not even an hour in. Oh. You're in it. You're about to get buried in the chapel. That reminds me of Silence, the Martin Scorsese film. I would say Adam Driver is wonderful in it, but Adam Driver is wonderful in anything. Andrew Garfield is fantastic in it. Like, I always thought Andrew Garfield was like the Spider-Man pretty boy actor who was kind of whatever. So then I saw him in Silence, and I'm like, good God, this guy can act. It's like Robert Pattinson. I was always like, oh, he's the pretty boy Twilight guy who does funny interviews where he seems like he hates Twilight. And then you see him in a movie, I think Hollywood, I think it was, where he's in the limousine, and you're like, oh, he can actually act. And now he's the Batman. I think that has to be a fake axe. There's no way he's holding an actual axe that's like properly weighted. Which is what I would do. I wouldn't be a method actor, but I would at least have them like put heavy things in my arms to make it seem like, oh, I'm actually weighted down. Look at this shot. It's so good. It's very atmospheric. See, if it weren't for the text that pops up on the screen, like, the film would be so immersive. Like, you just get lost in this. It's like The Revenant. You just get lost in that movie sometimes. Okay, here we go. I was so excited when I saw this in the theaters. Because you see the clockwork, the wheel that's spinning in time. See, but this is spinning forward in time. See, because it's spinning clockwise. Like the wheel was. Was it? Yeah. The clock was spinning clockwise, and now this is spinning clockwise. So we're going into the future. And we'll see what Gawain is thinking of when he sees the future. Or when he's thinking ahead. He's thinking about giving up. Right here and now. And where does that get him? Dead. With a beetle on his jaw. See, but here we go. Now we're going to go back because we're going counterclockwise. So good. I love it. This was about the time my mom, who was sitting next to me in the theater, started turning and staring at me because she knew that I knew that she was not enjoying herself. She had like an angry stare. It's like, really? And I'm just sitting there going, oh my god, this is wonderful. Saying I caught that in my first viewing. When the camera spins like this, it's implying passage of time. It does it again later on. See, so he knows. He wants to give up, but he's going to just stay here. And now he's like, oh shit, I don't want that. I did pre-order the vinyl of this soundtrack, by the way. I'm very excited for that. Dev Patel. He's a great actor. I just have to imagine this day of shooting. It's like a Donald Farmer. Roll around in the dirt now. Hang on, let me put some ketchup on your hands. Gringalot. Apparently, Dev Patel was like, I don't want to say method acting, but apparently he really got into the role because David Lowery he said something, he wanted to change something, and Dev was like, I don't think Gawain would do that. I can't remember what it was. When this first came out, there were a whole bunch of articles because there was like, this was back when there was very few movies in theaters. So, like, everyone was like, oh, let's talk about a movie. This one's weird and seems polarizing. Let's choose that. There's a lot of articles when this first came out, and I read all of them. It was great. Gorgeous shot. Like, think of the time and effort it takes to get a shot like that. Like, there's no unnatural lighting. You have to wait for the moon to be in a certain spot. It's wonderful. A meeting with Saint Winifred. So this is not a part of the actual Gawain and the Green Knight story. I think it's mentioned in like a sentence. But or there's something to do that's a sentence in the poem, but David Lowery took it and expanded upon it and drew upon something else. Which, if you do that poorly, then you're just wasting time. But this part of the film does tell us a lot about Gawain's character. So it's okay to add stuff, but just make sure it's like purposeful and it makes sense and it's not boring, I guess. Hello. After all the crap I've been through, I guess a rest is in order. Spoopy. It's like phasmophobia. I wish the ghosts in phasmophobia were as nice as Winifred. It's Aaron Kellyman. Kellyman? Kellyman? I, of course, know her from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but she was also in Solo, but I don't ever. There's not much about that film that perks up in my memory. Oh! Okay, so remember how I said Sir Gawain has basically this journey is a test of his greatness and his some people have theorized that there are okay, so there are certain aspects of a knight that makes them knights. You know, purity, chivalry. There's like a whole list of things, and a lot of people have went into the film and noticed. I guess some people theorized that there were different tests in this journey that test different aspects of that. And I would like to find that list and like watch this movie again and try to figure out, oh well, this is testing his this is testing his that. The only thing that I caught the first viewing was that we found out already. The first shot we see of Gawain is him waking up in a brothel, and we already know his vice is sex. So I see this as another test of that because I don't know if he would take the time to help. He didn't want to help out the guy. Remember who helped him with the chapel? He couldn't get away from him fast enough. But here's an attractive ghost woman, and he wants to help out. I'm assuming because he's expecting some kind of sexual favor or something in return. I think that's why. See, because she's talking about him trying to have sex with her, and he's thinking the same thing, and I think he's expecting if he helps her, then she'll help him. I mean, you're not wrong. But that's Gawain's major vice, and we will see that tested very, very explicitly later on still. But that seems to be like the number one thing that's being tested is his, I don't want to say chastity, because he woke up in a brothel, but it's like, I love her dialogue. It's so like, it's so weird in like a ghostly way, you know? It doesn't make sense, but in a ethereal kind of sense. That's a good shot. He's swimming upwards. I haven't figured out a symbolic reason why that is. Interpretation or otherwise. See, and there's the red. We learned that red is the color of, I don't want to say sex, but red is, we find out later that in this universe, or in this understanding, red is the color of lascivious acts, I guess. So I think that's what he has on his mind is, if I get her head, she'll get my head. Although I think David Lowery has said in an interview or somewhere that it was just, I think he said, oh, well, we just made it red. I'm not 100% certain on that, though. But that's what I'm reading into it. Death of the author, birth of the reader, fuck yeah. He nearly lost her jawbone in there. Look how easy it came out. I don't think that means the fox is Saint Winifred. Or I guess it could be. Maybe he saw the fox earlier because it was Saint Winifred, like, scouting him. I'll need to look up, like, what the fox means, or what it is. If it's Morgan Le Fay, if it's Saint Winifred. Maybe it's just a ghost of the forest. I don't know. This is only my second time seeing this, so. Oh, spoopy. It wasn't there before. Ah! That's a wonderful effect. And it fits in with the effect because everyone's losing their heads. Look at that effect. It's great. It's his mother. That's how I'd react. He's like, what just happened? There's his axe back. An interlude. She got him his axe. Oh, I guess that whole chapter is to get his axe back as well. But it also tells us, I think, a lot about Sir Gawain and how he views women in general. Maybe he's not as well, I was going to say maybe he's not as knightly as he thinks he is, but we find that we find that out later more explicitly. Oh, this is just landscape porn now. I know the Green Chapel was filmed in Ireland. I wonder if that was the case here. There's one giant beast. I think that's meant to be like a reminder that magnificence and magnanimous. I'm not doing another take because we're an hour in. A reminder that everyone dies. It doesn't matter how great, how gigantic, how terrifying you are. We all die. I love the fox. I love foxes. Foxes, which are very quickly becoming the official mascot of the autumn season and Christmas to some extent. So I guess it makes sense because this is a Christmas film. I should record my mom's reaction when I when I go over for Christmas and I'm like, "Oh, Christmas films, The Green Knight." I still make fun of her about this. I was like, "Mom, you should probably get COVID tested because we saw The Green Knight and you obviously have no taste, so you should get tested." That was great. Oh, we're zooming out. I saw on the right hand side there was like something moving in. I was like, what the hell is that? Dude, I would love to snuggle up with a fox. You have no idea. Preferably a domesticated one, because a feral one would probably like chew my eyes out while I slept. Your doom is at hand. I don't think this segment is much more than just expounding upon the fact that this is a long journey. But you do kind of get lost in this when you don't know how much time has elapsed. Okay, David Lowery has said that this scene specifically is to set up something else. It's supposed to set up a certain scene coming up that's magnificent, I guess. He has said that the mushrooms are meant to sort of like lull the audience into, oh, well, we can expect to see a certain sort of psychedelic thing. I guess from the fox as well, because he's given him mushrooms. I don't know if that is explicitly to say he gets like high on drugs or anything, but just I guess like give us that image maybe, or the thought. Like I said, David Lowery has explained a lot about the film, but a lot of it is like non-committal stuff in a sense, kind of. He seems very much okay with see, here's the magic mushrooms thing. He seems very much okay with people drawing their own interpretations, and he seems to go along with the flow as far as people coming up with ideas on their own, and he just largely like just goes along with it, which I think is cool. As much as I love drawing my own inferences and ideas and stuff, I do like to hear like director intent and like what their thoughts are. Okay, so there's Green. We're gonna find out a lot about Green. I will find out a lot about Green because with the subtitles, I'll understand better the speech we get later on. Wonderful shot. I wonder if that was done with a drone. Okay, so you probably wouldn't know this if you watched more commercial films portraying Arthurian legends, but Arthurian legends are full of some weird ass shit. So I know a lot of people who are fans of like actual Arthurian legend are like they were psyched when they were like, "Oh, this movie's about as weird as all that stuff." It's like unapologetic about it, which is great. I don't know what this is supposed to mean from allegorical standpoints. But I think David Lowery has said that it's just the passage. Like when Dante swoons in the Inferno, it's largely to get him from point A to point B in a quick time. We also get to hear Awu, which is always good. But yeah, I read a lot of Divine Comedy into this scene. There's a baby! Oh, you know what? They're all women, are they not? It could be another point in how Gawain just views women as things to be used, maybe? Okay, so I was right. Okay, watch. I love this shot. There's the clicking again. Okay, watch. So it's clockwise, so we're going ahead in time, but watch what happens. I was right. I'm looking at the time clock. We are about halfway through the film. So we turned halfway, 180 degrees, because we're halfway through the film. I was right. That's what I figured when I saw it the first time in theaters. I was like, oh, we must be at the halfway point. We are! I called it. Suck on that, opening night audience who thought this movie was boring and hated it. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there in the third row going, oh, I love it! Big fan. I'm enjoying it just sitting here watching it now. And I've been up for like 16 hours, so if I'm yawning, it's not due to the film. It's because I'm tired from work. On the road! I'm going home. Maybe the woman didn't carry him. I think they did. It was just off screen. Ah, here we go. This is actually in the poem. Friend? Friend. Oh, Joel Edgerton, who plays Lord, he was Gawain in King Arthur 2004. How about that? And didn't he play Oh, Boy Erased was written and directed by Joel Edgerton. Okay. Didn't he play Elton John? Why was that not in his Wikipedia page at like the top? Or maybe he didn't. It's not in his filmography. I probably have the wrong guy. And yes, I am watching. Who played Elton John? Elton John, Rocket Man. Oh, that's Taron Egerton. Oh! Are they related? Oh, Edgerton. Oh, they've got different last names. That's where my confusion lied. Okay. This is Joel Edgerton, and then there's a Taron Egerton. You can't blame me. My mom even was confused. Oh, look. It's Alicia Vikander. And exchange of winnings, right? See, right now the text is getting a little bit too difficult for me. That time especially because there was white on white. I love the old lady. And yes, that is the same actress who plays Etzel. They're appealing to his legendary status. Oh, we've heard tales of you. You must be great. Basically, it was hinted already because he saw his mother and it became Joel Edgerton, not Taron Egerton. Uh, but these are manifestations made by his mother to test him. That's why they're appealing to his greatness already, because she's trying to see if he'll, I guess, be more humble and test his chastity. It also gets pretty hilarious later on. We'll see. Make yourself content. Alicia. Make yourself content. Oh, yes. Content. Oh, chasing the fox. Mother of Jefferson Davis. She's chasing the fox. Astronomy. Books. I love the painting on the page edges. I should point out, because at the beginning of this podcast series that I started, I've been hyped about this movie and Dune. I'm going to flip my lid when Dune comes out. If it comes out. It better not get pushed back again. I will freaking lose it. I'm in Texas. I don't think... Well, it's a wide release, so... Texas is like the one place where they would not shut down things due to COVID again. Yes. The old lady. I love her. But yeah, I have a hard copy. There was like a 25th anniversary edition of Dune, or 35th, 45th, however old. But it's a gorgeous hardback book, and the pages are edged with blue, like the melange spice eyes. When you get addicted to it, you get the blue eyes. It's gorgeous. I should have been listening and reading the subtitles, not talking about Dune. She's an artist. A portrait. This is a nude portrait. Yeah, this is around the time it was becoming frightfully uncomfortable sitting next to my mother in the theater. All of the sexy Vikander Dev Patel. See, they're making it seem like his soul got like captured in that painting, but I don't think that's what's going on. It was kind of odd or ambiguous to me upon first viewing. For love. It is for love, but he's lying. This is what his mom's testing him. Don't do it. It's the Garden of Eden, man. She's gonna tempt you. Oh, it's not Joel, or it's not Taron Egerton. It's Joel Egerton. Eat it. Oh. See, I think this is his mom. She's testing him, but also helping him. Making sure he's well fed. Okay, here we go. I'm so glad I have subtitles for this thing, because there's a lot of dialogue that I did not catch. See, it's like the challenge. Your wife. Lord of the Rings style, baby. It's terrible. Dev turned away. He's like, what? That old lady. Maybe Morgan Le Fay wants a child. Third degree. Okay, she's trying to say stop fucking around, literally. You've only got one life to live. Red fades into green, and green is children. She wants him to think of his progeny. Goodness, not lust and greatness. That was kind of a comical exchange there for a second. See, it's not going to be that easy. But Gawain wants it to be easy. He thinks it's going to be easy. I love the old lady. I don't know what card that is. I'm not. I love tarot decks, but I'm not familiar altogether with tarot itself. Oh, hi. Oh, hello. Oh, no, no, no. You come here. They say you all about hustling and getting that sweet honor. Dev Patel. What? I wonder if she's supposed to be like one of the handmaidens, like one of Morgan Le Fay's handmaidens or something. By the way, recall that his green sash was stolen, by the way. That his mom made to protect him from harm. She's got to get it back to him somehow. Okay, here's the scene. Remember your deal. Here we go. As awkward as this scene is, imagine sitting next to your mother in a theater. Look, there's the sash! Even my mom figured out that this is like something to do with his mother because she was like, "Don't screw your mother." She was like whispering to herself. She was like, "Don't do it." Here we go. To be fair, I thought that they were actually having sex. I didn't know that there was a hand job going on right here. You are no knight. Yeah, that's the shot that it had a very vocal response from the audience. It was awesome. I live in a moderately sized town. Ah! So even when we have a packed theater, there's really not all that many reactions. So like Endgame had a very big reaction. We saw that opening weekend. So it's not often I have like an audience that's willing to like react. So it was awesome. Everyone was like, "Whoa, ew!" It was awesome. So yeah, he failed the chastity test. Oh, Dutch angle. Okay, remember the deal. Whatever you give back what you receive in that house. Okay, this I don't get. Unless his mother is trying to tempt him, she doesn't know if he's straight. She doesn't know his sexual orientation, so she's just, oh well, he didn't want to stay with Alicia Vikander, so why not Joel Edgerton, not Taron Egerton? I'm not 100% certain. Or like she's testing his resolve and it is now steeled, and he passed the test now. But I don't know. The important thing is that we get Foxboy back. So maybe the fox is his mother, and that's why not Taron Egerton but Joel Edgerton caught him. See, there's so much of this film that's still left ambiguous or like open-ended enough. A beheading at the Green Chapel. I didn't catch it the first time. Oh wait, no, I caught that one. There's another one coming up. I don't fully understand the Joel Edgerton kiss. I think it's to test his lustful nature, because he failed it with Vikander, but he passed it with Edgerton. Okay, I just looked up a Screen Rant article about the fox. Apparently, the fox represents Gawain himself. So that's like his consciousness telling him, no, turn away, don't do this. It's like a final plea to himself. Okay. While at the house, Gawain sees a tapestry that references a fox hunt, and in both versions, it symbolizes the temptations presented to him. He is the fox who can either cleverly escape or be caught. He is tempted by the lady, and when he gives in to temptation, she gives him a protective green belt. As Gawain flees the estate, realizing he has betrayed the values of a knight, the Lord encounters him. In that day's hunt, the Lord captured Gawain's fox just as Gawain has caught in the lady's trap, and the Lord gives up the creature, though Gawain keeps the green belt. This links the fox with the temptation offered by the lady. Okay. It ends. There are many puzzles in the Green Knight for which there is no straight answer, and the true meaning of the Fox Guide is open to interpretation, just like many other mysteries. Okay, yes, you're right. Okay, at least that makes sense. It's the Green Chapel. I'd love to go there. Apparently that's in Ireland. I don't know how much of that is like digitally enhanced. I hope it's just a Green Chapel that looks exactly like this. That'd be gorgeous. Or maybe that's a set. I don't know. Much like with the giants strolling around, I don't know where reality begins or ends and uh, imagination begins. Did I say this film slow paced? You don't know the half of it. Great shot. Great shot. Gorgeous shot. Best shots of the year. The cinematography. The editing techniques. Okay, I didn't catch it until the tail end of it, but the Green Knight's face starts to morph and change into other characters' faces. See, there his eyes opened up. And Gowen's like, what? Okay, there's King Arthur. Is that Joel Edgerton? Or the Queen? I don't know. I can't tell. And it's very subtle. I didn't even notice it until like the last face change. So it's really cool to see it now. Back to the Green Knight. I couldn't tell you what all the faces were. Couldn't sleep. If it was your last night on Earth, I don't think you could sleep either. Yeah, Ralph. Is it Ralph? Ralph Ineson, the Green Knight. He had an excellent quote. He was talking about how he had no senses in that suit, but all he really had was his sense of smell. And so he was talking about how interesting it was that he was getting into character through the smell of that green chapel and nothing else. I thought that was interesting. I do. Who could forget? Only the penitent man will pass. Sir. The subtitles say rapid heartbeat, but I can't hear a heartbeat. At least not with my headphones and at this volume. Heartbeat quickening. Tired of this shit. We're about to find out. See, he made it to the point where he can grasp greatness for once. And is this how it ought to be? He's understanding it's not nearly as easy as he thought it was. And now that he sees how difficult it is this how it ought to be? Yes, that's greatness. That's honor. I was about to say, oh, a gift from his mother, but we've entered the last temptation of Sir Gawain. Which, the namesake of which I would love to watch at some point for the podcast. Especially, I think, Pier Paolo Pasolini, he did The Voyage Home. He did The Gospel According to St. Matthew. It's like an Italian film. which fits in with the new wave cinema in Japan, sort of, but just in Italy. Hey, there's that guy. Hey, we made it. Nobody's saying anything to him. How's that great and an honor? There's the sash. Hey, back. Back to sex. He's seeing red. See, she was saying that red is the color of lust, and he was, when he was diabetes, there was a sash still. It's like the tool belt. And like sitcoms where they're like tool belt on. King Arthur's gonna die. But look, he's earned it, he thinks. He survived the Green Knight. He survived the game that was supposed to kill him. Look, he's a knight. Sir Gawain. Also, he's crying. I didn't realize that before. Or at least I think he was. I thought that was a tear. Excalibur. I'm going back to bed. I remember the first time that reminded me of the bed from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka in the Charlie Factory. That's another kind of movie. King's dead. I guess he is the nephew. Although this is not real, so this is just him ingratiating himself, really. Look how great I become. It wasn't Lancelot, it wasn't whoever the hell, it was me that was the next king. Quick, get an epidural. Witchcraft exists. She doesn't know, like, where am I? It's a baby! Morgan the face grinning. She knows what's gonna happen. She's a lowborn. You can't be connected to her. This is gonna make the knight do it. Oh, that's Merlin. My bad. I saw him in the cast credits and I'm like, where was Merlin? I couldn't remember. He's got like the wedge at on his eye. Green is what's left when red fades. And she looks like she looks like Alice in Wonderland. They all look weird. They must be Danes. Shots fired. Nearly hits her in the face with his crown. Good job. Sugar, let's get it on. That's when you know you've hit nobility. When you're trying to get it on and you have manservants, like, undressing you in front of everybody. That stays on. Whatever. It was more awkward than good. Like, there's the fox with the... Well, there goes his head. Is that beheading imagery? You stupid child! Those were rough estimates at best. Oh, it's like the ducal ring from Dune. My son. This is Crusader Kings? Did he ever have a child with the Dane woman? The Danish woman? Yeah, greatness is not all bells and whistles, fam. Oh, they killed him. Guess who? Look, she's still wearing the bells on her hood. Oh, okay. They have a Danish baby now. They'll need that to unify Scandinavia. I still don't fully understand the picture. That'll be the next thing I Google. The Green Knight. What's the deal with the picture? The portrait? Oh, it's a daughter. Ugh. That's why he's leaning as far away from her as he can. Here we go, the clock turn. So I think this is going back in time because we've gone forward in time in the hypothetical future, so now we're going back in time to you know where. Here we go. Is this all that ought to be? Look at where you got. You fled from honor and loyalty and chivalry, and look where it got you, bro. All the way back to me. That was his crutch. That was him hiding behind witchcraft. He's laying it all bare now. That's what it means to be a knight. And that was the second reaction from the crowd that was like, what? yep, that's the ending. It took all of 2 hours, but Sir Gawain became a knight. It wasn't glorious, it wasn't beautiful, it wasn't heroic, but he became a knight. Good job, Gawain. You pulled it off. But yes, I absolutely loved this movie when I first watched it. I love it the second time watching it, and I will very much enjoy loving it in the future. I will get it immediately on Blu-ray when it comes out on Blu-ray, and I will absolutely fall in love with the Blu-ray. I've got the vinyls popping up in April. Very excited. Great acting, great directing, cinematography. Not Taron Egerton. I think Taron Egerton has no D. It's just Eger. Aaron Kellyman. But yes. Such a great movie. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If it's not your kind of thing, that's totally fine. I totally, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But it is certainly my cup of tea. And I absolutely love it for that. So, definitely, if you like slower films... Yeah, they were all women. So far as I could tell. If you like slower films, character-driven films, this is definitely your kind of thing. But, like I said, I can see where it's not for everybody. But I'm assuming if it's not your thing, you didn't make it this far. So, all of you still here, thank you guys for watching. I love this film. I hope you love it as much as I do. And I'm very excited to go and watch David Lowery's other stuff. A Ghost Story is supposed to be really good. So I'll be very happy to go back and watch that. And everything else in the future. Tommy Dune. We're done. Carl. Okay, well, I don't have anything else to say, but the credits are still rolling, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next commentary track. Have a good one.